Now Mike has talked to you about how to do a print on a light colored shirt. Let's talk about dark shirts right now. And we're going to talk about the very basics of dark shirt. This is not going to be like the shirt I'm wearing here, which is called simulated process color. This is just going to be a basic 1 and 2 color print. First of all, the ink for the dark shirts is a lot thicker. This is the white ink we're going to use, and the white is typically a little thicker. Not quite as creamy. We want to have the thickness to help cover the garment. We're also going to change our mesh counts somewhat. We're going to go with a low mesh count. If it's a 1 color print on a dark shirt, you could use a 125, you could use a 110, you could use an 86 mesh count. If it's a single color print where you want a heavy print, if it's going to be a base on a dark shirt, meaning where you print white first, cure it, and then print colors on top, you might go to a higher mesh count. But right now our design is this Phoenix Sun design, and basically I did a print of the white screen first. I need to line up both my screens, so I did this print first. I then flash cured this print with the flash unit. Then I'm going to come back and line up the top color. Now when you do this kind of a print where it's a light white under base and a color on top, your top color is through a higher mesh count. We're going to be on a 280 to a 305 for the top color. We're going to bring the screen down. We can see our print below it, and we can adjust and line the print up. Now you'll also notice we're at a different press. This is what's called a side clamp press. The press Mike was showing you earlier was a rear clamp press. It's really your own preference. A side clamp press is nice if you're using wood frames that are older that maybe require being held on both sides. A rear clamp press works great if it's an aluminum retentionable screen, if it's a rigid aluminum screen, if it's a really well-made screen, rear clamp is fine. If you're doing a lot of athletic printing where you're doing names and numbers and you're trying to put more than one design on one screen and you're trying to move that screen around and lock it down just to print that one name, then a rear clamp press is much easier. A side clamp press gives you a lot less leeway. You're pretty much locked into how much you can move your screen around. Now the problem with printing on a black shirt is if you do 1 or 2 strokes, the print will be okay, but not great. Let me show you what I mean. Even though we're with a thick, high opacity ink, we're going to do a couple strokes. The print's a little gray. Now in today's market that may be acceptable because the customer wants sometimes a distressed print where the print looks like it's been washed and worn. But for the average consumer this is not good enough. It's not bright enough. So in this business what we do is we will do the print of the first color of the color. We'll then flash cure, and we're going to cure it for about 10 seconds. This will dry this ink. Then we're going to print the same exact screen right on top. This is commonly called a print flash print, and it's really wet ink on dry ink. And you'll see an amazing difference between how bright the print looks. Now we'll come back and bring the same screen down, just do 1 stroke on it, and now we have very bright white on this print. So now we have an acceptable 1 color print on a dark shirt. You know, we get a lot of calls, people saying they're doing fireman shirts and they're trying to use, 86 mesh and 4 or 5 strokes and can't quite get the coverage. And the realities are for this print, we're actually on around a 200 mesh for the underbase because if we do a print flash print, we're going to lay enough ink down to get a nice bright print, but it's going to be a soft print. So we've got a great looking print. We're going to come back and flash it one more time. Now if you're thinking that in the real world it's going to be a lot of waiting for your flash unit, when you're looking to buy a press, you want to get a press that has multiple stations, and preferably a press that has stations that move. If the stations move, you could put your flash unit over there, and when you're done making the print, you can then rotate. It's going to go under the flash unit while you're doing your next shirt, and so it's going to kind of go around, and so you're still printing while the unit's flashing and you're not standing around waiting for it. A lot of people do sell low-priced starter setups that have a 4 or 6 color head with only 1 station, and you can see how slow it's going to be because you're going to be doing a print, flashing, waiting for it to cure, and then doing another print, flashing, and you're going to get very low production. Now, it may seem pretty archaic, but the way you tell if the print's dry when you flash cure is you kind of touch it, and you get an idea once you've done a few shirts whether it's going to be 10 seconds, 12 seconds. You can adjust the height of your flash heater so that it's about the same time to cure as you making the print. So by the time you're done making a print and rotating, the other print's cured. Now we're going to take our next screen that's on a 305 mesh. This is an all-purpose plastisol. Don't think dark shirts have to be always high opacity. The white ink is the high opacity. This is just the top color. So we're actually printing on white right now, and we're going to print this golden yellow through a high mesh count, and we're printing on top of the word Phoenix, and now we have nice bright print bright yellow, the customer will probably think you printed a bright yellow with nothing below it, but there's white below it. You know that from seeing how I printed it.